Our top story this hour: Israel and Bahrain have cemented their year-old agreement to establish diplomatic ties on a landmark visit to Bahrain. Israel's top diplomat Yair Lapid has opened the Israeli embassy in Bahrain. The setting up of diplomatic ties comes 1 year after the US brokered normalization of ties. In Bahrain, Lapid met with King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. Israeli media has called it the first public meeting of a Gulf monarch with an Israeli official. The Israeli top diplomat also met with Crown Prince Sheikh Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa and Foreign Minister Abdulatif Al Zayani. Confirming the official opening of the Israeli embassy in Bahrain, Lapid said that Bahraini embassy will be opened in Israel by the end of the year.
We are meeting in the first official visit of an Israeli minister to the Kingdom of Bahrain. We're meeting to officially sign the peace agreements between us, to turn this peace into an active friendship, economic, security, diplomatic, and civility. I want to thank the King of Bahrain, His Royal Highness Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, for his leadership and inspiration, without which we would not be here today.
The Israeli foreign minister touched down at Manama airport an hour before Bahrain's Gulf Air made its first direct commercial flight to Tel Aviv. This is the first time that Bahrain's Gulf Air launched direct flights with Israel. The flight comes to Tel Aviv as part of the political, commercial and civil aviation agreements signed with Israel. And the newest line will initially carry 2 flights a week.
The first Gulf Air flight, which departed today to Tel Aviv, is taking us all to places which in the near past we were only able to dream of. Our opportunities are shared, our threats are also shared, and they're not far away from here.
And Bahraini Foreign Minister Abdulatif Al Zayani and Yair Lapid signed a number of memorandums of understanding. The agreement ranged from cooperation in medicine, healthcare, sports and on water and environmental conservation. Bahrain also reaffirmed its commitment to the two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
We call for coexistence for all nations, all peoples of the Middle East, to live side by side despite differences in ideologies and religion and sect and ethnicity, live side by side to achieve stability, security and prosperity for all nations of the Middle East.
The Bahrain flight and Israel's first bilateral ministerial visit to the Gulf country are part of a thaw in regional relations. Last year, the United Arab Emirates, Morocco and Sudan had agreed to establish ties with Israel under agreements known as the Abraham Accords. Lapid has already visited the United Arab Emirates and Morocco and opened Israel's diplomatic offices since he became foreign minister back in June. The Arab countries are involved in the Abraham Accords have stressed the economic benefits of ties with Israel and beyond economics. The rapprochement was also driven by mutual concern over Iran. Meanwhile, anger simmered in some quarters over the accords, which broke with decades of Arab consensus that there would be no relations with Israel while the Palestinian question remains unresolved. Protesters burned tires on the outskirts of Manama. The hashtag Bahrain rejects Zionists in Arabic was circulating on social media. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.